Minivan, Gary, Denise. Well, welcome. I know Crystal's playing with her computer, eating Reese's peanut butter cups, so she will not probably be attending. So no telling. Well, there's Brian Barb. Kicking his fingers. Roger Blair. Welcome, everybody. So what's going on, Chris Barb, Mike?
Well,
hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello,
I'm getting excited for you and Mike that are going on the big meet and group.
I got to fill up water. I'm still loading.
You think you're excited, boy?
I bet. Yeah.
It's like I got to go back in the barn. So I was like, I went to the barn yesterday, right? I got a pole barn, and I'm like, a mouse looked at me. I'm like, what are you doing in here? Because when I get back, it's going to die.
Enjoy yourself now.
I got Bose speakers in there and everything. Wow. So yeah, Thomas, welcome. So yeah, interesting. I got to fill up water and everything when I get off the show. Welcome, Leonard. Nice to see you there. So yeah, well, I got things to do. But I don't know if I'm going to have brew. I'll probably leave about 7 or 8 in the morning. Really 7. I got to stop and get batteries. I don't know why I need batteries. I got batteries, but anyways.
Well, not something you want to run out of, right?
No.
And I bet you, we know that there's a history in the LBL of batteries being drained.
Well,
so
I got batteries.
Yeah, so
I got battery chargers, extra batteries.
Mike Eagle Wolf.
Cords.
Yeah, welcome.
So welcome, Mike. So,
if anybody could figure out how to do some glamping and primitive camping would be Grizzly.
Yeah, right.
It was funny because I'm not going to mention any names, but people are like, Grizzly, there's a primitive campsite. I'm like, yeah, I knew that.
Grizzly says there's no such thing as a primitive campsite.
Yes.
No.
Man, we got a big screen, we got a heater, we got generators, we got cords. When when I went and got food today, they were like, if we're going to your house to eat, I'm like, I'm going camping. They're like, what? Camping? I'm like, you're taking us camping? I'm like, yeah. Welcome, Liana. Yeah, Thomas, wait till you see the bill for that food.
That what he gave you a down payment, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Are you bringing the dolls?
No, psychics told me don't take the dolls. They warned me, do not take the dolls. Yeah, they told me do not take the dolls. So yeah.
Did you guys happen to see the post on Facebook about the haunted doll that somebody, but I can't remember who posted it. It was just maybe something, in my feed about somebody that had bought a haunted doll at a estate sale. Did you see that?
I didn't
see
it.
I think I did see one.
Yeah, he like put it in a seat belt because he wanted to make sure he didn't really want to touch it. And he wanted to make sure that it would be protected. Well, his side window like shattered on the way home from the. Nothing.
Bad.
Yeah,
so Did the doll escape or what?
Well, no, the doll was still in there, but the side window shattered. Like, ooh. So I don't.
That doll was gone. I'd be like, oh hell.
Yeah,
what's going on here?
Yeah, I'd be freaked out. I'd be like the doll be thrown out the window, Ugh.
That's interesting.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So I want to throw your all's mind for a loop, and everybody's listening, and everybody's going to listen, and everybody's going to watch this on replay. So I don't think anybody is really paying attention to this Bigfoot phenomenon. And I watched some episodes, some people that are very big in this phenomenon, well-known names like Ron Moorhead and some other ones like John Greer or Green and some other big names that's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sleep for a couple of nights because, Melbourne Ketchum, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows about the. Do you not realize that was back in 2012 and 2013?
Okay.
What?
DNA results and tests.
DNA, yeah.
And you can go out to the website and look at her results, and you can actually see the DNA strands.
Right.
And do you know what the results came up with?
Half human. half
Yep.
not,
half human, half
unknown.
yeah, and the male DNA would be, or the
What?
father, yeah,
Paternal
unknown.
was unknown. Maternal was
Human.
female.
Female.
Yeah,
Somebody
Is what we
explain.
knew.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Somebody explain that. Well,
No, somebody explain to me what y'all know.
oh, wait, what do you mean? Oh, you want one of us to?
Yeah.
Who wants it? Who
The
wants it?
mitochondrial DNA supposedly came from human, which is the maternal side. The nuclear DNA supposedly is unknown. Not anything in any of the databases of all DNA databases is not shown up.
Right.
So
It's
can
just
you
a
break that
totally
down to
unknown.
layman's term for the actual general folks can understand?
Well, Leonard did it.
Mother,
Mhm.
mother human,
Paternal,
father
paternal.
unknown.
Unknown. Yeah.
So the father was not human.
Correct.
So the nuclear DNA, they could not pull a father gene of a human. So when I went back and looked
And also,
at
and Grizzly, but nothing in any, like Chris said, like nothing in any database.
It
of
matches
any.
so when I
nothing
went
ever
back
known.
and looked at some of these documentaries with Ron Moorhead, and I'm not going to mention these other people's names that I went back and studied, they were talking about Nephilim and all this other stuff, right? And it really got me stopping thinking about how they can. And I was like, wait a minute, if they are talking about Nephilim and Anunnaki and interdimensionals and cloaking and Glimmerman, I mean, would that not be feasible to even think that that's a possibility? Because I mean, you stop and Ron actually went on record, and a lot of people, yes, Leonard, you're right, and a lot of people actually went on record stating this, and a lot of people didn't realize what they were stating. And when I went back and watched it, a lot of people were quoting these famous people, and they're like, "Are you not paying attention what people are saying?" And they're like, "No, we didn't pay attention." They're like, "Yeah, they're saying it on these shows." And I was like, what the hell? That's crazy.
Because
I
a
brought
lot
up
of
many
people,
times. I definitely think there's some kind of possibility of Nephilim.
yeah, a
That's why
lot
I
of
brought it
people
up.
tried to
Good.
discredit the study, and it was just, I mean, if you really look into it, there's no way that it can be discredited. But people tried to, and I don't know, there's various reasons why maybe they would want to do that, but I just think we need to get to we just want to get to the truth, right?
Well, let's go a step farther. What about the other cryptids? Because if you look at biblical reference, they also made it with animals, Dogman, Mothman, whatever other cryptid that's out there, right? Is that not plausible?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, I mean, because if they're actually, Robin Haynes said they're going to be doing, or if not already doing, Dogman DNA, which she alluded at about a year ago on one of the shows.
Yes.
So it's just, I don't know. I mean, so I actually brought this up on one of the shows with somebody else, and they were dumbfounded. They were just like, "Hey, Scott," they were like, "What the hell?" And they just went in like shock. And they're like, I need to look at this a little further. They went out to the website and they were like, I don't know how to read this. So they went into it. Yeah. So I'm just saying.
Did they got Dogman DNA supposedly?
Yes.
That they're,
and what did that come back as?
They haven't
wouldn't say.
Yeah, they haven't released the official results.
Yes, they would not. She would not say. But I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, I know how people stand on this subject, but if you stop and think about this, and the study is on the website, and scientists that does this for a living says and state they cannot explain it. And people that does this for a living, been on record, say, I cannot explain it to you. It's above my pay grade, because they don't want to further explain it to tarnish their scientific PhD. How can you explain it?
Yeah.
The late Scott Carpenter had written a really good book, Truth Denied, about the study. And it's so it's such a fantastic book. If you guys have an opportunity to read it, such a fantastic book. And I learned so much with it. How he's going through all the aspects of it and how it was, and how meticulous that it was. And then the other thing is that Melba Ketchum didn't believe even in any of it. She thought it was nonsense that there could be Sasquatch or Bigfoot. She just thought it was all nonsense. And she thought, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll do it. Whatever. I mean, I'm getting paid for it. This is what I do. And then it wasn't just her. I mean, there was many people involved with the study, but but then she found out that she found some very curious things. And as a matter of fact, there is a picture of a Bigfoot. They call it Matilda, that they had found. And it's a pretty good picture. It doesn't, it's very, very bizarre looking. Did you happen to see that, Grizzly? Or any of you it's on the main page, on the home page.
No, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I thought about it, but when I went and saw these documentaries and saw who spoke and the results in the data that they used and referenced, and seeing the DNA results and how people were like, I'm just saying, I mean, you cannot dispute this. And the way they were talking, and everybody was like shunning away from it because it's woo. And it's like, sooner or later, you're going to have to accept it. It's what some of these people were saying. And then you see these high regarding scientists is like, I don't really want to touch it because I don't want to be tarnished, my reputation. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we all know what happens when you go against a certain narrative. And they like to bury scientists that might be just showing. I mean, proof is proof. I mean, if you got the evidence and you've done the homework and you've done all your background on it and been thorough with it, that's essentially proof. And how some of these scientists get buried, and even doctors get buried when they're trying to expose the truth, or when they're just here it is, black and white.
Right.
And it's sad that it happens, but
yeah.
But how many encounters have we heard that people have seen these creatures and they were so terrified and they prayed to God and they disappeared? I'm just saying. It's pretty wild. So
yeah.
So you're bringing your holy water and your crucifix with you, right?
It's already packed. So I mean, it just made you stop and think, because a lot of people really change their views, and we talked about this many times, change their views on how they think about this creature, however you want to call it, being, forest people. Ladies and gentlemen, label it however you want. I don't care. However you want to make you feel comfortable, because we don't know. But seeing the results she has on her website, seeing scientists, kind of like, I don't know what to tell you. This is what it is, and we can't figure it out. I mean, because when you do a DNA results test, I mean, it's black and white. It's it. So,
yeah.
Well, you got to consider all the DNA tests that had been done that were thrown out because they claimed it was human contaminated. But
yes.
turns out it was half human the whole time.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, they just kind of wanted to look the other way and discard it right away. So, yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Mike, you're awful quiet.
He's tired.
Well, the thing, no, I'm listening to everything. The thing with the Nephilim, and here's the only thing, and my mind's as open as can be, because there's, and the whole theory to me makes sense, except one thing, and that's what I'm trying to figure out with this. The Nephilim were fallen angels. God kicked them out of heaven. They were demonic, whatever you want to call them. But every encounter I have had with the Sasquatch has been a peaceful, chill type encounter. And they don't come across to me as being demonic in any way. So somewhere along the line, generations, maybe they've changed, maybe that maybe somebody in the audience or one of you guys would have an explanation to help me get to there. That's the only thing that in the back of my mind I question. But is it? And I believe the DNA study. I believe that I think that's. I've talked to people been involved with it. I think that's very authentic. But I think, but what I deal with doesn't seem like it's demonic.
No, I would agree with that, and maybe there's some kind of descendants.
Could be
the Nephilim.
So. Yeah, because if it's so you have the first, let's say the origin, the first Bigfoot Sasquatch, and then the second one, however they reproduced, and then you have Sasquatch reproducing with Sasquatch. Eventually, you kind of that's what your race, or I guess, right, is going to be mostly. It's going to be mostly Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever you want to say they are. Like Robin had said, though, Robin Haynes had said that because they're hybrids, you could really get anything because they still are essentially a hybrid. But like,
just like a house cat, a house cat gets on their hind legs and they go ooh, 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 right before they pounce, just like a regular wild cat does, like a big cat, that's something. So who knows?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's just the DNA results, it's mind blowing, right?
Yes.
Because we cannot explain it. It's not our everyday science that we understand. So.
Yeah.
And Brian could be making a good point there, which you got to pose it to. That's I've thought about that as well. But yeah, it's definitely a theory that makes sense, and I try to grasp, but not everybody. I mean, there's still obviously people that deal with these that don't have the peaceful encounters like most of us have, but but certainly, it has us all thinking, that's for sure.
Now, Susan F. I don't know. Oh, I can't click on. I can't click on that.
Well, they are. Oh, go ahead.
What do you think if someone is being harassed and they pray and it doesn't go away? I haven't heard of that, but you know what? But see, I feel like why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't a demon would know to pose as something like this? They can mimic anything. They can something.
Well, that's actually a twofold question, right? So you pray, I pray. My prayer works and your prayer doesn't, right? Mm-hmm. How good's your faith?
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
So
absolutely. How strong is that demon? Also, what level are they? That and so it's there again. It's just another unknown.
Assuming it's a demon, I mean, they are part human too, right? So I mean, you can have those good encounters, you can have even the better encounters. So we all know there's good and bad people. And then you got the whole element of whatever else it may be.
Right.
Adds to the mix. But I do think that human element brings a lot of my inquisitivity to it. I want to know more about it just because of that alone. I think that gives us a chance to maybe communicate or make peace with this.
I'm not a gambler, man. Nope.
You will be this week.
Shoot and ask questions later.
The Heavenly Father, Mike, is on our side, brother.
Definitely. I agree.
So is Smith & Wesson, Colt, and everybody else. So we're good. That's right, Thomas.
It's really it's very curious to me as to why, but it's just like you said, Chris, there's different, and Brian Barber said it, good, neutral, and bad in all wildlife, including humans and my ex-wife's 19 personalities. Maybe, well, my ex did not have a sister, but sounds like him as well. But it is very curious why some are so aggressive and just some. But to me, it comes back to what is the whole circumstances surrounding the aggressive? Is it like something that, you're just going into the woods and you're actively looking for them, you're yelling, you're banging on trees, and you're howling, and who knows what in those howls, you're actually saying to them, and it pisses them off?
Well, I think a lot of the aggressive encounters are, first of all, the intent of the person that has the encounter, not the Sasquatch itself. Mm-hmm. I think it could be, you're pushing too far into a situation where there might be, some of the kids present. Right. And I think what a lot of people say is aggressive is not necessarily aggressive. Because if these guys wanted to be aggressive, they'd tear everybody apart.
Yes.
Obviously.
We're going to put that to the test, because guess what everybody else did? I got my call blaster. We're going to do Ron Moorhead Sierra sounds.
That he says not to do.
Ron, when everybody's sleeping, we're going to blast the hell out of it.
And you're yelling at Ron for instigating them, and here you are going to do the same thing.
Because he literally says, don't
everybody
do
I know in Bigfoot phenomenon played that. They're like, don't play it, man. It makes them mad. Man, you ought to see my call blaster. It's a Mac Daddy.
Well,
wait till everybody put this on live. Do this on live one night.
Yes.
What the hell, Grizzly? Are you nuts? Hell yeah, I'm nuts. I can't bring my pig attractant. We're gonna play Ron Moorhead stuff.
Oh boy.
We're like, Grizzly, you're crazy. Yeah, damn right, I'm crazy.
Well, you have safety in numbers.
Grizzly, you really gotta do that? Yeah, Neil. Damn right I am.
Boy.
No, Neil, I'm not gonna do it. Neil's like, damn, Grizzly, what the heck? People in the audience is like, he is gonna do it. I thought about it. Not telling anybody.
Hey, I say bring it on, Grizz. Bring it on.
Mike would flip out. I can see Mike trying to get off his little air mattress next to me or something. Like, what, Grizz, what are you doing?
He's gonna start serenading, just try to smooth it over afterwards.
Calm down.
But everybody I've seen on TV, they're like, "Don't play Ron Moorhead." That don't like it.
you watch the hyperbole on TV, you're gonna. But now, Chris, if you call blasted.
No, I never know. Everybody I've ever seen have. They say no, don't do it.
Well,
some of our team has, but yeah, I have not personally. No,
we've done that a couple of times, and I'm going to tell you what, it gets their attention. Actually, what we call blasted our own recordings. We recorded them, and then we call blasted their own. So we went to the same area where we had the recordings. So it was, they're hearing their own voices getting call blasted. And they had a field day with vocalizations, back at us, screams, hoots, howls. And they weren't too far away from us. And the time we did that, I'm sitting there counting. I'm sitting there thinking, there's 6 different Sasquatches here giving us the what for off this call blast, and they're all within about 30 yards of us. And now half of that's pretty darn scary. This is a couple years ago too, before any of the serenading or any of that stuff started. But it was, but they obviously stayed in the woods, and they kept the distance. But it was almost like this. Okay, we're going to give these guys. They want a show. We'll give them a show.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool.
Can you imagine sitting there going, Ralph, is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is me, Ralph. George. Wait, George, is that you? What? That would be a trip.
Yeah. So.
That would be a trip. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Neil just came into the show, so let's welcome him in.
Yay.
Come on in, Neil. You should saw Neil's face when I said I was going to play that Ron Moore. Neil was like,
Hi, Neil. Welcome.
So, yeah.
Hello. Can y'all hear this okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. I'm using my iPad this time, so I can see the pictures a little better, so I didn't know how the microphone's going to work. It's an old iPad.
Yeah, it's a little staticky, but it's all right. Good.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. How about you?
We're doing
Welcome
fine.
and nice
I'm
to
doing
meet you.
good. Had a little rough time tonight. The dogs got out. I've been chasing them around the yard, getting them in the fence. I feel like I've been beat up and grabbed by Bigfoot.
I thought he said dolls.
I did too, but then I thought, no.
Oh, hell no. Grab the crucifixes already. Here we go, Neil. We got you.
It was just a bunch of dogs. So I went to a new area. I've been drawn to it for a while, and I sent some pictures just to let see what y'all's thoughts are on it. I kept getting drawn to it. There was a tree that had an arch, and the arch, what caught my attention is there is a blowdown next to it, a tree that's blown down next to it, but there's a bunch of limbs on the end of it that's holding it down at the end. And as I got in there, this is actually not on our property, but every time I drive by, I kept getting drawn to it because I didn't know if it was just natural or if it was Bigfoot related. What was
Is
really
this the
strange
picture, Neil?
that's the first picture of it in the middle. Now the strange thing about it is it doesn't look like it's that tall. I thought at first, seeing it from the road, it was only like 6 foot tall, but actually when I got down there underneath it, it's 10 to 12 foot tall in the middle of that arch. So it's a big arch. It's a lot taller than it looks. I didn't think a tree that big could grow that tall, but it's 10 to 12 feet in the middle of that arch.
Wow.
And you can see the tree next to it where it fell. But then if you look at some of the other pictures of the end of it, and that tree is still alive. They still got leaves on it. Now, I've been looking at that thing for about a year and a half. Finally, I just said, I've got to go in there and look at it. I've got to go look at it because it looks really suspicious because I've got some trees they bent over and they put stuff on the end of it to hold it down. And from the road during the wintertime, I could see stuff on the end of it. So can y'all go to the next picture that shows the end of it? Okay. So the top thing that kind of splits into a Y up there, that's the tree coming down. And you see all kind of limbs that are laying up off the ground.
Right.
Because there's a lot of limbs that are standing up straight, which doesn't make sense. And that one in the middle that's bright does not even look like it's off the same tree. It could be, but the color's different on it.
Yeah.
If you go to the next picture, this is, I think, the one that gets really interesting. This is all on top of the end of it.
Wow.
If you see the tree that goes across it, the limb that goes across it, there's actually a limb on top of it to give it extra weight. Then there's a log on the other side that's coming this way, pinning it down. There's also to the right a tree that's going across that tree that fallen, and it's holding the end of it down in between the tree that is fallen and the tree that's behind it. It's holding it down at the very end of it.
Looks like it's all woven in.
Yes.
It's all woven in. That's the thing. It's all woven in, and there's so many things on top of it to hold it down.
Yeah.
I don't see how it could be natural.
No, that's not natural.
Yeah.
I want to point to two things if I can, Neil.
Okay.
If you look at the picture that's being shown now as well, you kind of see the makings of an A there, the letter A.
Yeah.
Now, Hensley, if you could go back to the original picture that was put up. Okay. Now, if you look at this original picture that's put up, you see the arch. You focus on that arch. But if you look beyond the arch a little bit, you see the long, narrow tree coming up from the right and then the one over from the left and how they interconnect up top, probably about 30 feet or so. You see another A there between the arch and those two trees there. You see the letter A, and that is so consistent with what we see in different places around the country, especially in mid-Missouri and southeast Missouri, where I look at. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of those trees making the letter A.
I see that out in Washington State here too. Definitely.
Yeah. Why do they do that, do you think?
Well, I've had people tell me, like Lynn Gaspar or Tom Cantrell, they'll say it represents A for alpha, an alpha male making his mark in that area, that for that reason, and that's but we see a lot of A's when you look at their structures, you see that letter A in a lot of places.
Well, what was strange was I took a straight line to just go see that, but on the way out, as I was going out, I looked to the right further in the woods, and there were like 3 to 4 trees that were bent over in an arch, all in the same direction, and also a possible tree break. Now the tree break there's a tree next to it. You want to try to go to those pictures?
Yeah, and that happens to us quite a bit there out in our field. When we find one arch, we usually find like a lot of times 3, 4, 5 of them, all in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you'll see that.
Oh, that was.
Yeah, you have to go down a little bit.
Let me see. Yep, right here.
Yeah, that's the one that's a tree break. Now that tree break is my head high, so it's about 6.5 foot high where it's broke at. And the pine tree and the other trees around it aren't messed with at all. So, I mean, that could be nature, but just past it or where all the arches are. And it's pointing in the same direction that all the other arches are, which is really strange to me, which kind of leads me to believe, hey, this is all done for a reason. So if you go to, I guess, the next picture, it should be the arches.
Sometimes you'll find some of these, and if you go down, you follow the end, and you look around, and you won't see anything that fell to cause that tree to fall or break. So a lot of times you'll see a tree drag another tree, and they'll break another tree. But sometimes you'll find these, and there's nothing around that caused that to fall.
Well, if you look on the ground around it, which I did look around it, there is no other log or tree anywhere on the ground around it.
Yeah. Same.
And the way it fell, I would think if there was wind, it would have been blocked by that pine tree. This is all the arches that's in a row. There's 3 to 4 in a row going from right to left. And they're all going in the same direction.
Yeah. I'll say another thing about the tree breaks, if I can. If you, a lot of times, and I don't know what direction the tree has fallen from and toward, but most of your strong tornadic type winds are coming from the west or the southwest. So if something is going to break that tree, that wind's going to probably come from the southwest, and that tree is pointing toward the northeast. And a lot of times these trees are pointing other directions.
Yeah.
And and then you look around and say, well, how come these other trees didn't break either? How come this is the only one that broke? So so those are other things to notice on that as well.
And all these trees that are arched, they're all alive too, which I don't understand. But I see it all the time. I see trees that are arched and they're living. Now the first one that drew me in had been arched for over 18 months. I've been looking at it for 18 months. And I just kept saying, that does not look natural. It looks like something that put all that stuff on the end of it to hold it down. And finally, I decided I would just sneak in there and get a peek. And take a picture of it. Now, this is about 4 miles by the road from where I live. So it's really not that far. There's probably, I would say in crows, about 3 miles. If you go in a straight line through the woods. And then on the way out, I saw some possible old footprints, which there's more of the arches, what the arches look like, how they're bent.
Yeah.
But pretty serious tree too.
Yeah. Right. And you see they're all bent the same direction. And they all have leaves on it. They're all still alive. Now you can't really see It's kind of old, but it looks like an old print right there. That's the first one. And then the next one, I have my foot beside it. My foot's 13.5 inches long, 5.5 inches wide. And it's
That's
a
about the
good
size of
inch and a
mine.
half to 2
Yeah.
inches longer than my foot.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I said, well, it's old, but I've seen so many prints that the outline, and it almost looks like where a toe dug into the dirt up there just to the left of the end of my foot. So I was like, this looks like a Bigfoot print. I'll take a picture of it and everything. Won't show up very good on TV because the camera's flat, but it's pressed everything. It's pressed down.
Oh, you can see the indention.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can see the indention, and you can almost see what would look like some toes up there too.
Right.
That's a nice print.
Just to let y'all know, I don't know if, okay, let's go to this. This is interesting. So near the gifting station, there's a creek that's got 12 to 14 foot banks. They made 2 hides across the creek because they wanted to make sure that they got the best food. Evidently, some of them were going in there and taking all the best food. So I think these little ones went and made these hides across the creek. So as soon as I left, they would come over there and get some of the best of whatever I left.
Hey, Neil.
Yes.
Let's circle back to these guys because they don't know you as well. I know you've been on my show, but explain your gifting area and then what you put up there and how many times a week you go shopping for these fellas. Because they don't know what you've done.
Okay. So basically, when they let me know that they were there, I thought they were a normal animal, and I got them to show me a footprint by putting apples on a tree and clearing off underneath it. And I wanted to start learning about them. So what I did was I said, well, 2 apples, and actually I put 2 apples on a tree on a nail with no head. And then they made 2 teepee-like structures in the ground for me to put apples on. So I had 4. So then what happened was I said, well, heck, I need to learn about them. Let me go ahead and make a gifting station where I put food out. Now, at the time, I didn't know any better. I knew about Bigfoot, but I didn't know much about them. I just was 50-50 that they may be alive, but I thought they were like a deer or a rabbit, another wild animal that would eat and go their own way, which it's not right now. I know I would never do it knowing what I know now, but they've never really done anything bad to me, but I've never really stopped for a long time either. So I had cutting back for a while. I've actually moved the food back up with something that's happened recently. They started clear cutting a big section of woods that was one of their safe zones. And it's made a pinch point down there near the gifting station. And I've had somebody shoot at a couple coming through there. So there's at least 2 to 3 clans, small clans, 3 to 5 that have been displaced. So there's more of them here right now. I tend to believe what's going on is all little ones that are here. I think the adults are trying to find other places to live and leaving them here because it's a safe zone. And once they find a place to live, they're going to go with the adults, their parents. But they know this is safe. So I made the mistake to ask them to leave me some more prints Thursday because I was trying to find out exactly how many there were. Monday, I got back off of a trip. There were prints everywhere. I have no clue now. Everywhere I went, there were prints.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's cool.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is the hide that they put on the other side of the creek so they can come. Oh, did you want me to tell them what all on the gifting station?
Yeah, I mean, what do you put up there too? And his station, he built like a platform.
It's a platform.
That was up on a tree.
It's got 4 4x4s, okay, and there were 12-foot 4x4s. We put them in the ground and put cement down, and then we built a plywood base. Now, the plywood, we were just using some used stuff, so there's a hole in the middle of it. But then we even put a roof on it to keep it dry. So I got, in the beginning, I had 3 huge plastic containers that you would put Christmas paper in. You know, the long Christmas paper, you put them in those, and they're really deep and long. I've got 3 of those and a small one. I'd gone back to 2 of the big ones and a small one. But now with there being so many here, I've started giving them a little bit more since they've got more of them here. And I want them to let them know that I had nothing to do with it, which I told them that. And evidently they believe it because they're leaving prints everywhere. They're not, they're not holding something crazy happened. Actually, when we were gone, that we just saw yesterday too, it was crazy. But anyway, in one of the big containers, we'll put 14 pounds of dog food. The second one, we'll put another 14 pounds of dog food. Now, in the beginning, they took a bag of dog food off our back porch when the cameras were dead. It was a 35-pound bag of dog food, and it was chicken flavor. Later on, I tried putting salmon down there, and now they like salmon. As a matter of fact, one time when I put 1 salmon and 1 chicken, because Walmart didn't have 2 salmon, they took the salmon bag out of the trash can and put it by my car.
Oh my gosh.
It's a trash can with a lid, put it by my car where I step in to make sure I understood that they wanted salmon.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Just a little message. Just a little message to me. So 2 of them have dog food in it. The third one will have one of these big bags of cereal. It's actually got 2 big bags of cereal. I'll put 2 different types in it. There's 5 types they'll eat, and I'll alternate it a little bit. Then I'll put Nutter Butters in a package, 12 of them in a box, put that out every time. 2 boxes of peanut butter crackers that have not been opened. It's got the hole in the top. And what they do is they pull it open. They're made by Lance, so it's got a hole in the top, and they put their hand down in the hole and pull it back. Hey, kitty. A wild kitty just came in here, wants to see me. Yeah, I see you gonna try to go ahead and get on my shoulder, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she will too. She'll get over here on my shoulder in a minute. Bang! I don't know where she's
all right.
at. But anyway,
we're cat friendly.
And then I'll put you little kitty friends trying to get on TV. The honey graham crackers, I'll get a party box of it. It's got 6 packs in it, and I'll leave it in the packs. And a 15-pack of peanut flavors, sweet and salty granola bars. And that'll be gone in 2 to 2.5 days.
Oh, they love those.
Yeah. And
That's a lot.
So that's what I put out twice a week.
Wow.
And they know the days they want it out on, and they want to be held to a schedule. Ooh. Now the weekends, they don't care if it's Saturday or Sunday, but the one day during the week, they will pace themselves so that day it's empty, that I have to put it out. And then if I don't put it out, they've done stuff like tap on my window. I'm the last one to leave in the daytime. They'll tap on the window. They'll tap on my door just to remind me, hey, we're here. It's time to put the food out. And they pattern me so much that when I'm taking bags out of the car inside the house, they know something's there for them. The next day, I can go out by my it's not really a truck. It's not really a van, but they'll go out and stand next to it and look in the back window to see what's in there for them. Because any time they do. They have me patterned.
That's great.
Anytime I'm taking bags in, they'll walk out there and look in the bag to see what's in there for them.
Wow.
So, anyway, going back to that hide, if you can pull that picture back up, I was just taking pictures of the hides so that I can show people what they've made on the other side of the creek, so they're close to the gifting station, so they can come get the food. Then, if you notice also that stick that's broke in front of it, I think that's a territorial marker or a marker of showing something where something important is, because it's light in color, and that's what they prefer seeing at night. And I've got one by their major trail broken almost like that down by the pond where their major trail
is that stripped or something, a bark or?
No, that's just the type of tree it is. If you remember the one that was by the pond, Chris, the one that was by the pond was that color. It's the same type tree. Gotcha. And they've snapped it off about the same height they did the other one. So all of a sudden, I put it into a post on our Facebook page, and all of a sudden I have somebody respond to it and say, "Did you see the face inside of the hide?" And I didn't blow it up, but anytime I go down there, it's quiet. And most times I go down there, I know I'm being watched. I mean, almost every time. Because when you go, I've got bird feeders out up here, and it's like a bird sanctuary when you walk outside, but I go down there, it's quiet. So there, I know they're always watching. Now, what do you think of this picture? Now, I did circle it because I had done that, just so that I can see it. Can you zoom in on that? If you notice everything,
it won't let me zoom anymore.
It won't let you zoom anymore.
I just lost it here. Yeah, Facebook doesn't let me zoom for some stupid reason. But
okay, if you notice, everything else is straight lines because it's made with sticks. That's in there is round and looks like a monkey face and looks like it's frowning at me. When you zoom in on it, it looks like a monkey face and it looks like it's frowning. Now, could it be something else? It could be, but everything else is in straight lines, and that's the only thing in there that's round. So,
Neil, right above that, like the very the top of your circle. It almost looks like a rounded. Like literally right above the circle, it almost looks like a rounded, I don't know, a rounded like face, and then possibly like a nose right in the middle of where the X is, or the ass.
You're talking about there.
Yeah. And I don't know. It could just
you start zooming in here. You can find faces everywhere if you wanted to.
Yeah,
I see a couple eyes here. I mean,
it's hard to tell there.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But what's interesting? What's interesting, though, if you look at the stick structure, you see the little sticks coming down and next, then you have another upside down A. So
that is kind of cool. I've seen the A on that. I saw some pictures you sent me before, and I wanted to circle back to these. So I don't think you talked about these.
What state are you in? Our viewers are asking, what state are you in?
In North Georgia.
North Georgia. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, during this time of year, they'll leave fingerprints on the car. I told you they'll actually hide behind my car, and I've got a thumbprint that's actually huge. And this is a couple of what I thought was their fingerprints because the car got washed the day before, and then these show up. And there's telling ways. I wish I had more dermal ridges, but there's telling ways to tell if it's human or not for the most part. So I always look at it and try to see if I can see any ridges at all that gives it away, because their fingerprints are different than ours.
Yes,
I think you see some on here, and they're actually all in a straight line instead of being oval coming around.
Yep.
Instead of going up and down like an arch or something like that, they go straight across. I've got a big one that I took a couple of years ago or last year, a real big print, and you can see clearly all of them are going straight across, and my thumbprint next to it looks like nothing. I mean, it's minuscule.
Neil, is it possible that the print was there before you washed the car? And then, because it's really hard to wash their prints off of anything. Oily. They say. I wonder, whatever, or you should you're positive it wasn't there before?
I don't know, because this time of year the pollen's what shows the prints.
Collects it like it's been dusted.
Yes.
So it could have still been there. It could have still been there after it was washed.
Yeah.
But the oils could still have been there, and the pollen from that night in the morning showed them up again.
Sure.
That's a whole palm print right here.
Yeah.
Part of the palm.
Fingers.
Yeah, you can see the prints at the end of it.
Yeah.
Down
over
here, down towards the
this
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see another print of some sort there too. But yeah, that's crazy. How big they measure? Pretty large or what?
I had a print down from the gifting station, and it was a young one, but the hand from the end of the hand to the fingertips was 12 inches long, 10 to 12 inches. I mean, it was a young one. Now I do have one along several years back that was down there. That one was about 15 inches long from the back, and it was an adult. But the fingers on it were just massive. I mean, they were like sausages or hot dog sausages. They were huge around. It was crazy. I don't know what it was doing, but it left a handprint down there by the gifting station.
I think you had some pictures. These you sent me before. Some prints that you had.
I think, it looked like some old prints. Yeah. It's really hard to get good prints around here because the ground is so hard.
Yep.
And they won't stand in. They won't step in soft ground. You know, the only time I've got them to step in soft ground is when I always talk to them and say ask them to do stuff for me, and I say, show me that you have the message. The only good clear prints I have for the most part were stepped in where I'd ask them to get rid of a couple of hogs, and they stepped in, the big male and a couple of little ones stepped into where they were rooting. And that male was huge. Wow. I mean, wow. It was, in fact, it was on one of the other shows I was on. It was about 27 inches long and 12 inches wide. Wow. Is what the male was.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think they got the granddad up on it.
Wow. Neil had a pretty cool story, guys, of them actually helping him with those hogs.
That's cool.
Oh yeah. I went down and let them know because I bought a gun at night. There were 2 wild boars that started showing up, and I don't want them on the property. So I went and bought a gun and got a night vision scope on it. And I was going to go pattern them and shoot them at night. But I know that they hunt at night. So I went down and asked them, I said, hey, can you help me get rid of these hogs? If you don't, I'm going to have to pattern them and shoot them at night, which I know you don't want me to. 4 to 5 days later, I go out there, and where they were making their digging the grass up and stuff.
Rudy
was that big male footprint and 2 or 3 smaller ones.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
So they let me know that they got the message. Now, one of the hogs, both of them were over 300 pounds. Both of them were boars. One of them was white and black. It was a mixture between domestic and wild. The other one was a pure black Russian boar. I mean, it was straight tail and everything. It was pure Russian boar. The first one was gone in 1 week. The second one was gone 2 weeks after that. And I've never seen them on game camera again or seen their prints.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
great.
They got the message, and there are some wild hogs, some sows, and piglets across the road from us. But anytime I see them over there, even if I'm behind them, you think they'll come to this side? No, they'll run right across from me and go the other direction. They will not come to this side of the road. So they've made sure those hogs will not come over here. So
no, that's cool.
Great. That's excellent. Cool. Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if they killed them and ate them or if they just chased them off, but I know that they hadn't been back.
Gave them the message that you don't come over here.
Yeah.
Neil, did you say that the big footprint was 27 long?
27 long and 12 wide.
12 wow. Wide. That's massive.
Yeah.
That's a if you go by the chart, it's 13 to 14 foot tall. The biggest I've seen is 24 and the width was 11. So the ratio, 3 more inches, 1 more wide, the ratio would be consistent with racials that you see as well.
Right. Now I've seen branches broken up in a tree on a big boy trail, 15 to 16 foot up the tree.
Yeah.
And it's standing on the ground. It wasn't climbing up the tree because the tree would never hold its weight. But
Right.
most people don't know what a big boy trail is. That's what we call them down here. We call them big boy trails because it's where the biggest one makes a trail that he can make a fast getaway. And on each side of the trail, he'll break limbs high up on each side of the trail. So he's got a clear path to run through and the limbs aren't in its way. And on the other side, the limbs are still there. But they want to make sure the limbs won't hit. But the limbs are, like I said, there's 15 and 16 foot high that have been broken off.
Yeah.
So that's a big boy.
So you made an interesting point. With a lot of people, when it comes to Bigfoot encounters, that they would be in the forest or the woods, and the insects and birds would go silent. And there has been a scientific study that shows that insects in birds and frogs, when they introduce electromagnetic field into the ground, the insects and frogs would go silent.
Wow.
So with that, we take Robin Haynes. She would recount that when Sasquatch or Bigfoot would get close, their electronic or EMF field would be so strong, she would have to tell them to tone it down. And we hear that throughout the phenomenon field with some people. So and we hear that a lot with people, and that theory was actually been tested scientifically. So it goes to show that it does happen. So I just wanted to throw that out there and let you know.
Well, that's good to know. Do you think that might also be the reason why no ants, roaches, flies, birds get on the gifting station and other things because they set that around it?
Yeah, so the ants actually does react to the EMF field as well, the pulses. It's very interesting. When the study I saw on it, I wasn't aware of it until I actually read the report and actually saw it, because we always hear the encounter to where all of a sudden everything got quiet. And then there was Bigfoot on the trail, right? But when Bigfoot left, everything went back to normal. So I just wanted to bring that out there and point that out to you.
I also believe I used to early on get a lot of the smells from them. And it would be a variety of smells. It would be pure skunk smell. It would be a skunk wet dog smell. Or it would be a wet dog smell and roadkill smell combined. But at the beginning, I would smell them, and then it would get weaker, and then they would go away. I mean, from after that, they would just go away completely. I'm talking about different times. They always would stay the same consistency. I only had the first two that was it was from two different ones because they had two different smells. One was behind one hill, one was behind another. But now I don't get them anymore. So it's almost like they're used to me and know I'm safe. And they can emit the odor on their own.
Yes, they can. And that's been proven in the gorillas. They can do that.
Maybe because they're getting anxious or scared. And now that they're used to me, they don't do it anymore. Because they're like, oh, we know him. Everything's good. They don't get anxious or scared anymore.
I've experienced the same thing, Neil. Yeah.
At first, I thought that maybe they were just letting me know they were there. But now I don't think so because I don't get the smells anymore. So I've really gotten to where I think that it's just they're used to me and know I'm not a threat. So it doesn't, the alarms don't go off.
Well, it
must be a defense mechanism, right?
Yeah, it took 10 months for Jane Goodall to see the silverback or one of the apes with a stick to beat on a tree. 10 months.
Wow.
So, So, absolutely.
Well,
Neil, do you get any? Okay. I'm sorry.
It took them several. That's okay. Yeah. It took them several years of watching us before they even let us know they were here. So That's a unique thing. They let me know they were here. Of course, I put a Bigfoot cutout, so I think they might have thought we knew them. Anyway,
I wish I knew who that person was. I interviewed 3 years ago. They tore the hell out of theirs. Yeah, they did not like it. So because they thought the neighbors tore it up.
Oh,
so yeah, yeah.
Well, at least it brought Neil some company instead. He didn't have the bad reaction from it.
Yeah. Neil, have you seen them?
I've seen 4.
Okay.
And let me go back and kind of clarify that. For me to call it a sighting, they have to be close enough that I can see a face, hair, or know 100% there's no other animal it can be.
Gotcha.
Now,
yep.
I've seen one on top of the platform of the gifting station, a little one, slide down like a little kid off of a gym equipment, and then go to all 4s, and then go into the woods on a trail where I know one goes. But I don't even call that a sighting, even though I know if it had been a dog or a cat or any other animal, they would have leapt off and gone 100 miles an hour into the woods. But I don't call that a sighting because I wasn't close enough to meet my criteria.
Gotcha. Yep.
I've had pictures of them where I zoomed in. I've seen them looking at me out of the trees. But I've seen 4. Now, one of our sons has seen 5. So, but a lot of his were at night. All mine were in the daytime. So,
if you don't count that as a sighting, you must have countless sightings then, because I would call that a sighting. I mean, the fact that you can watch it, you watched how it moved down the, and reacted.
Well,
I mean,
that's the reason. That's the reason why I know that it was one of them, because it just slid off. You know how as a kid you're on a little platform and you go to slide off sideways and go to the ground. Well, this thing went to the face of the woods, and then it slowly moved on the backside of it down a trail that they normally go. But it didn't meet my criteria, so I don't count it because I go strictly by that. But I have seen 4.
It's I've seen the juveniles do that, or the babies, whatever, because they're pretty small, but they're like too big to be, like you said, it's too big to be a cat, or what else would like kind of slide down a tree like that, it's pretty cool. And they do it so fast.
Oh yeah. But what surprised me is that when it got to the ground, it went to all 4s and it hesitated for a second, which kind of like, wait a second, once it hesitated, and then when it moved on all 4s, it's like its arms were outside of its body and it moved really weird. I always said it was like it was a pig with a corn cob up its butt, but no pig could get up on that platform, so it could have been sort of like a spider, but it was moving weird. It wasn't like it was right up underneath them, the hands and all. It was kind of like to the side. But again, I was 40 yards away, so anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen 4, and they have actually pinged me. And the only way I can describe it, you know how you ping your location on a phone? They have pinged me to let me know exactly where they are. I've actually gone and it stops me in my tracks when this happens. It stops me in my tracks. I turn and look exactly where they are. I have one in a tree that was about 250 yards away in a tree. I took a picture of it with my camera, and after I got to work, I zoomed in, and there you can see the head and the shoulders at 250 yards away in that tree in the middle of that picture. I don't know how they can do it, but they've done it several times.
The infrasound.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how they do it, but it will stop me in my tracks.
So you get that feeling like that something is watching you. Is that what it is? Like, is that what you're saying?
It stops me in my tracks. I mean, I stop in my tracks. I was going through the house one time. It can go through windows. Now it can't go through brick walls, but it can go through windows. I was going to the refrigerator and one hit me. And I stopped and looked, a tree that went up and split off into two. And my wife looked at me and she goes, "What's wrong?" I said, "I just got pinged. There's one down there, but I can't see it. But I know it's behind that tree." And so I go on to the refrigerator, get my drink, come back, and as soon as I hit that window again, I stop my tracks again. It's still pinging me. So the next day we go down there, and sure enough, behind that tree that I knew it was behind, the grass was matted down, and you could see 2 or 3 prints behind that tree. So it was dead right behind the tree where I thought it was.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy.
What kind of symptoms, like what do you experience when you say like ping? How do you feel? You know, what would you say? Like energy or?
I don't know how to describe it. It's like almost my brain tells me to stop and look somewhere. And when they ping me like that, it stops me in my track, and I look right where they are. I've had that on some expeditions too, where I've been pinged and I stopped and looked up there, and I see something black way up on top of a ridge, and but where that area is, there's a lot of bears. Here, there's not any bears. So I'm looking up there at it, and then I went and got something out of the truck, and then I was still being pinged. I looked up there again, and then it moved. Then I said, "That is a Bigfoot up there watching me, kind of leaning over watching me." So I didn't say anything. I went to the guy that was putting it on, and I went to him and said, "Have y'all seen any Bigfoot around here?" He goes, "Why?" He said, "Because I saw something up on the ridge and got pinged, and it stopped me in my tracks, and I think there might have been one up there." He said, "Well, actually, we saw one this morning up there on the ridge." I said, "Did you?" And I said, "Well, what color was it?" They said, "Jet black." And I never told them the color.
Wow.
So again, I can't swear that I don't call it a sighting because I can't swear it wasn't a bear, but it was jet black, and they were sure that they saw one because it made a whoop up there, and they looked up there and saw it. So
I think bears whoop.
Yeah.
no, bears
No.
whoop.
No.
Yeah. And they don't like peek at you, you know, like
No,
stand there and
yeah.
peek at you.
They just kind of meander around. They don't even care.
But they have
interesting.
a way of knowing me because they actually pushed my foot in the tent that night twice.
Oh.
My foot was up against the tent, and they pushed the end of my foot back.
Get ready, Grizzly.
There you go, Grizzly. They're going camping this coming weekend there, Neil.
Please believe me.
They're going to the
Mike
LBL.
sings to him, Neil.
Hey, Grizzly, you
Yes.
can stay in the tent with me and have your feet on the tent.
No. I'm ticklish.
Little foot massage.
No. I had a guy that actually squeezed Bigfoot's butt. Yes.
It wasn't me.
I fell out on the air.
Yeah.
And when he sat on the tent.
Yes.
And I was like, "Dude, what?" I was like, "Shut the front door." He's like, "I was going to poke it with the knife, but I was afraid to." I'm like, "Dude, get out of here."
Is it nice and tight there, Mike?
It was like a brick, he said. He said it was like a brick.
What if it was a female and you squeezed his butt and it decided it wanted to meet you up close?
Yeah.
Mike, take it over. What would you done?
First saying.
I've always kept my distance.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You have the
Well,
girlfriend
Neil.
coming in. You just squeak, or the boyfriend of the, coming.
Yeah, we're going to play some
Squeeze
Frank
my woman
Sinatra, not Ron Moorhead. So,
Oh gosh.
Hey, Grizzly, I got another idea for you.
yes, sir.
Okay, so they made a little poker room in the house, and they made a little bar. They got a bar in the poker room, and they decided they would put some of these, the balls that they have up in a disco where it shines a light everywhere, but this is just like a little black box. They decided to put one in there.
What?
yeah, they put one in there and they turn the lights off and they'll go in there and they'll dance and stuff like that. You know, the kids when they go do that stuff. But sometimes they leave it on. When they leave it on, there's tapping between 9 and 9:30 and 12 and 12:30 on the front wall every night. So
you're punking me out. Are you being for real?
I'm for real. And they do it every time they leave that on. So what you need to do when you have your get together in Kentucky, take a little clear tent, get one of those, get that battery on the ground, get one of those, put inside that tent, put it in the middle of the field, turn it on. I guarantee you they'll come watch the laser light show at the edge of the woods that night. Guaranteed.
Hey.
That's great.
We're going to have some fun, ladies and gentlemen.
But
yeah, look at Mike. Oh, hell no, Grizzly.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Neil. Where can everybody find you?
I've got a Facebook page, bigfoottalk.com, and also we have a website, bigfoottalk.com, and there's a lot of the stories on the Facebook page and also the website.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You're always a great guest to have on, man.
Thank you.
It was kind of a short. It was a short notice, and you just said, "Yeah, sure." I'm like,
I know. Cool. I want to talk to Neil. I'm going to get in contact with you. I want to talk to you some more because I have a very similar situation going on at my house right now. So, yeah.
Okay. So
thank you.
You can just Facebook Messenger me, and then we can hook up.
See, look, I got my laser lights going.
There you go. He's got his disco ball going now.
That's right.
I can't
wait.
Green screen.
Mike's like, oh my God, Grizzly.
Bigfoottalk.com.
I can't wait.
Grizzly, you got to promise me you're going to do that now. Don't be scared.
Hey, I got cameras galore, man. I got lights. Yeah, we're gonna have a ball.
He's got more crap than they'll be able to see him from space, Neil.
Wow.
Thanks, Neil, for coming on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Great
talk.
All
right. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.